A group of Midwestern governors is exploring options to keep year-round sales of E15. They sent a letter to the EPA this week announcing their intention. Ron Lamberty with the American Coalition for Ethanol joins us now to talk about the plan. Thank you for joining us, Ron. But let's start with the breaking news out of Washington. We just learned that the Biden EPA has denied its first small refinery exemption for blending obligations. Now, it's just one request, but it is a small victory for biofuels. What is your response to that?
Well, that's great. I hadn't heard that, but that's good to know. If they're done properly, it shouldn't really affect the volume because they're supposed to be done before the year so that the volume can be included and divided up between the rest of the people that are there. But I mean, it's a big change from, an administration that granted all of them without really investigating. We've never denied that there's times when maybe a refinery waiver would be necessary, but it seems like in the past they've just been granted. So this is good.
Yeah, let's make it a trend. Let's move back to E15 sales now. What approaches are the aforementioned governors taking to make year-round sales happen?
Well, okay, so the way that these governors suggested that they could do it legally, and they've always had the option, is that instead of giving the waiver to E15, you'd take it away from E10 and all gasoline would have to be the same read vapor pressure. And the reason that works is because you don't once you add a couple of percent of ethanol to a gallon of gas, the read vapor pressure goes up by a pound, but the more you add, the more it doesn't go up anymore. It actually goes up less. So if you have gasoline that makes 9 pounds, when you add 10% ethanol to it, it'll also be less than 9 pounds read vapor pressure when you add 15 to it, so it would all be legal. And the reason that's been left out in the past is because everybody screams that it's going to cost more, but you're talking about a couple of cents more for the base fuel. But then when you add the ethanol, as we've seen the last few years, E15 is typically, which is usually sold as unleaded 88, E15 is usually 5 to 10 cents less. So even if the base fuel went up a little bit, the overall savings to consumers would be better. And then, on the environmental side, it's better for the environment than certainly than E0, but even better than E10.
What are the next steps, and do you expect to see any additional hurdles in the process?
Oh, there's always going to be hurdles in the process. I don't know what they are. It'd take too long to guess what they might be. But the next steps would be for EPA to either do a rulemaking deciding that they want to do something again to get E15 back to where it can be used from June 1st to September 15th legally, or then if they decide not to do that, then the governors could send letters to EPA and say, here's what we plan to do, and EPA would probably grant those requests.
Well, we look forward to seeing what the outcome will be, hopefully in your favor. American Coalition for Ethanol Senior Vice President Ron Lamberty, thanks for spending some time with us today.